Intruders! They've breached the gate! Get inside, quickly! Intruders! They've breached the gate!
The morning sun bathed the magnificent white mansion in a golden glow. Flowers lined the driveway, birds sang from the tall mango trees, and the freshly cut lawn looked like a green carpet. Every morning, before anyone in the house woke up, an elderly man was already hard at work. His name was Moses. At 65 years old, he was the family's gardener. Though age had bent his back slightly, it had never broken his spirit. He carefully watered every flower, trimmed every edge, and treated each plant as if it were alive enough to understand kindness. The neighbors often admired the compound. What a beautiful garden, they would say. They never knew the man behind its beauty. Inside the mansion lived a 70-year-old Vanessa Williams, the only daughter of billionaire businessman Richard Williams. Vanessa had never known hardship. Luxury cars waited in the garage. Designer clothes filled her wardrobe. Her latest smartphone was replaced every year, even when it still worked perfectly. Growing up with endless wealth had made her believe something dangerous. She believed people were valuable only if they were rich. Everyone else existed to serve her. One Saturday morning, Vanessa stepped outside wearing expensive sneakers worth more than Moses earned in several months. She looked around the compound before spotting him planting fresh roses near the entrance. Without greeting him, she shouted, "Moses!" The man immediately stood up. "Good morning, Miss Vanessa." She frowned. "Didn't I tell you these flowers should have been finished yesterday?" "I'm sorry. Yesterday's rain damaged the soil, so I had to," she interrupted. "I don't want excuses. You are just planting flowers. How difficult can that be?" The old man lowered his head. "I'm sorry." Vanessa rolled her eyes. "Honestly, sometimes I wonder why my father still keeps you here." And she walked away, laughing. Moses simply returned to his work. Not once did he answer back. Over the next few weeks, Vanessa's behavior only grew worse. Whenever her friends visited, she treated the house staff like invisible people. One afternoon, while sitting beside the swimming pool with two classmates, she called loudly, "Moses!" And he hurried over. "Yes, miss." "My shoes are dusty," Vanessa said. He looked confused. "They are beside you." So she folded her arms. "Clean them." Her friends giggled. The old man quietly picked up a soft cloth and cleaned the shoes. As he bent down, Vanessa whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear, "This is the only thing he's good for." More laughter. Moses remained silent. That evening, Richard Williams arrived home earlier than usual. As he walked through the garden, he noticed Moses carefully replanting flowers that had been crushed. "What happened?" Moses smiled. Children were playing. Richard looked at the damaged plants. He knew exactly who the children were. He sighed, but said nothing. Instead, he watched his daughter from the balcony. She was becoming someone he barely recognized. A few days later, Moses spent the entire afternoon planting rare orchids Richard had imported from another country. They were delicate, expensive, and beautiful. Just before sunset, Vanessa walked outside carrying a bottle of unreached juice. She looked at the flowers. They are blocking my selfie spot. Without hesitation, she poured the remaining juice over the newly planted orchids. Sticky liquid soaked the flowers. Moses froze. Miss Vanessa. She shrugged. You plant another one? Then she walked away, laughing. Richard had witnessed everything from his office window. His heart broke, not because of the flowers, because of the person his daughter was becoming. That night, Richard called Moses into his study. I'm sorry, he said. The old gardener smiled gently. Sir, she's still young. Richard nodded slowly. Yes. Then he said something unexpected. But it is time she learns. 1 week later, Richard traveled to Abuja for an important business meeting. Before leaving, he hugged Vanessa. I will be back tomorrow evening. She smiled. Bring me something expensive. He laughed softly. We will see. That night, heavy rain covered the city. Thunder shook the windows. Most of the staff had already gone to sleep. Around 2 a.m., strange noises echoed outside the compound. The security camera suddenly went dark. Moments later, the front gate crashed open. Armed robbers. The security guard fled. Inside the mansion, panic exploded. Staff members screamed. Vanessa locked herself inside her bedroom. Her hand shook as footsteps echoed downstairs. Someone was breaking furniture. Another person shouted orders. She tried calling her father, no signal. She cried silently. I don't want to die. Then, a soft knock came at her bedroom door. She froze. Another knock. Then a familiar voice whispered, Miss Vanessa, it's Moses. She slowly unlocked the door. The old gardener stood there, soaked from the rain. We have to leave now. She stared at him. The front entrance is blocked, he nodded. I know another way. Years earlier, Richard had built a narrow maintenance tunnel behind the garden for drainage and electrical repairs. Very few people even knew it existed. Moses led Vanessa, 2 housemaids, and the cook through the hidden passage beneath the garden. Rain poured above them. Mud covered their shoes. Vanessa struggled to walk. Several times she almost fell. Each time, Moses reached out his hand. Careful. Finally, they reached safety behind the neighboring compound. Police arrived minutes later. After a brief exchange of gunfire, the robbers were arrested, but everyone survived. The next morning, Richard rushed home. The moment he saw Vanessa alive, he hugged her tightly. She burst into tears. Dad? Richard looked towards Moses. Thank you, he said. The old gardener simply smiled. I'm grateful everyone is safe. Vanessa looked at Moses for a long moment. She remembered every cruel word she had spoken, every insult, every humiliation. Yet, when danger came, he was the one who saved her. Not because he had to, but because he chose to. For the first time in her life, Vanessa walked toward him. I'm sorry, she said. Moses smiled warmly. It's all right. She shook her head. No. Tears rolled down her face. It is not. I treated you like you did not matter. You still risked your life for me. I don't deserve your kindness. The old man gently replied, We become stronger people when we forgive. Life slowly changed. Vanessa began greeting every worker each morning. She carried her own school bag. She cleaned her own room. She thanked people instead of ordering them around. When guests visited, they noticed the difference immediately. Even Richard smiled more often. But there was still one thing Vanessa did not understand. One evening, she asked her father, "Dad, why did Moses become a gardener?" Richard looked at her quietly. "I never told you?" She shook her head. Richard smiled. Before retirement, he was a university professor. Vanessa blinked. What? He taught agriculture for over 30 years. He trained hundreds of students. Some of them now run successful farming companies across Africa. Vanessa stared in disbelief. But why become a gardener? Richard looked toward the garden where Moses was trimming flowers. "He once told me something. No honest work is beneath a person. Work only becomes small when pride becomes too big." Vanessa felt tears welling up again. She had judged a man without ever knowing his story. Months later, the mansion looked just as beautiful as before, but something inside it had completely changed. Every morning, Vanessa joined Moses in the garden before school. Sometimes she watered flowers. Sometimes she planted seedlings. Sometimes they simply talked. Neighbors smiled when they saw them laughing together. On Vanessa's 18th birthday, Richard invited family and friends for a celebration. Everyone expected her to ask for another luxury car or expensive jewelry. Instead, Vanessa stood before the guests holding a microphone. "I used to believe wealth made people important, but I was wrong. The greatest lesson of my life came from the kindest man I've ever met." She looked toward Moses. Then she announced, "Instead of birthday gifts for me, my father and I are creating the Moses Scholarship Fund to help students who want to study agriculture but cannot afford university." The room erupted in applause. Moses covered his face with trembling hands as tears filled his eyes. Richard smiled proudly, not because his daughter had become humble overnight, but because she had truly changed. That evening, as the celebration ended, Richard placed a hand on Vanessa's shoulder and quietly said, "Money can buy comfort. It can buy houses, cars, clothes, and luxury. But respect," he smiled, "respect is earned by the way you treat people who can do nothing for you." Vanessa looked across the garden. Moses was carefully watering the flowers she had once destroyed. This time, she walked over, picked up another watering can, and walked beside him, not as a rich girl giving orders, but as a graceful young woman who had finally learned that every human deserves dignity. Never measure a person's worth by their job or appearance. True greatness is revealed through humility, kindness, and the way we treat others. Hi besties, thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. See you some other time. Bye bye.